So welcome back to part 3. Spoiler alert. I mean, not really. I did it. I did the year. I paid the £9,000, £750 for 12 months. And I completed it. I got the t-shirt. Well, I didn't get the t-shirt, but I did what I said that I was going to do. And that felt astonishing at times, to be honest, because I was so tired. 2020 was a lot and stretchy, but it was an excellent choice for me to go into that next level. You know, it changed my income. It changed the way that I thought about things. I saw what was possible, but I'll go into all of those in a little bit. The first thing that I recognized in myself, once I'd signed that contract, once I was all in, was that I made a decision to do my best wherever I can, just to do my best. And I think sometimes if you're committing for 12 months, it can seem huge. And sometimes the temptation can be like, well, I'm going to start off really well, and then suddenly it gets busy. And I certainly found that with my coaching qualification. You know, the first few sessions, people were there, they've got the notebooks, and then the excuses, or they're like, oh, I can't make that one. The enthusiasm would start to just diminish slightly. And so I said to myself, I didn't have to be the best for anybody else. I just had to do the best with what I had. So sometimes that was me showing up on the Zoom calls and that I was in my pajamas and my baby was asleep next to me and I had my camera off, but I was still there. Or sometimes it was like, I cannot do this tonight. I cannot be live. There's a very loud siren. I'm sorry about that. I can't be live on this call, but I'm going to make it a priority to watch that replay, so I'm up to date. And it was just little tweaks like that of going, stay on track with it. Don't just gallop along for a little bit and then, you know, go and do something else. If you want to do this, you have to do the work. And so I'm really pleased that I did that. Number 2, I planned it all in my diary, because if I didn't, I think everything would have just galloped away. So when I say planned it in my diary, I thought about the kind of goals that I wanted to be hitting at certain points within that year. So I did all that strategy planning and I worked it alongside how I was doing in the course. And secondly, I really thought about how I was going to make it work. So it turns out for a lot of that time, we were at home. So Matt was able to be with the children. But I really made sure that I said that it was a priority. I think this was, again, sometimes it was easy, sometimes it wasn't. When we were all at home, the temptation was that everything could just blend into one. And I really had to prioritize these things. And I now do it with my children. You know, there are some times when I'm working and they can come in and out and bring me tea. No, they don't bring me tea. But, you know, I'm here and I'm working, but I'm available. And then sometimes there were like times where I was like, I am unavailable for the next half an hour. I need to lock myself away in this room, even though everybody knows where I am, and make it happen. And so putting in those boundaries, those commitments to myself were really, really important. Number 3, I decided to approach it with complete and utter curiosity and willing to learn. I think sometimes when you enter into something and, you know, sometimes they go over the basics, or sometimes there are people in a group or in the Facebook group or whatever the format is, and you're like, yeah, I know all this already. Like, this is beginner stuff. And that's where your ego might want to take you, like, oh, I don't need to listen to this. Oh, I've done that work already. I had to keep coming back to it. No, come back. What do you mean? Because also as well, by doing the work again, it allowed me to refine. So actually, even though I'd done all of this work in 2013 when I left coaching school, I was a different person in 2020. I'd had 2 children in that time. I had different dreams, different goals, different capabilities. And so however tempted you are to be like, yeah, whatever, I've done that ideal client work, I kept coming back and saying, no, do not skip the steps. It's almost like if you went to the gym and it's like, I don't need to warm up my body. And you can guarantee the first time you don't warm up, you're like, ow, I've injured myself. Yeah, I don't know. It's karma. It's something that comes into play. But that willingness, that openness, that beginningness, that childlike playfulness, curiosity really served me well, because approaching it in that vein really helped me enjoy the process. And also, I was in a group as well for certain parts of it. You don't want someone in your group going, yeah, I know all this. Yeah, I've done that. It's like, no, that is not the vibe I wanted to bring to the table. So, yeah, that really, really helped me. Number 4, I looked and saw evidence that it was possible for me too. So there were some people, as part of this 12-month situation, by the time I came in, they were on like month 10. So they were at a very different stage throughout that process and that level of investment in themselves. So I'm not saying like, oh, they were better than me or I was not as good as them. Like it's not an emotional thing. It's just, it was noticeable at times that people felt like they were further ahead or had more clarity or they were more established or whatever the measure of success was. And the ego, once again, wants to go, you're not as good as them, like you're not making enough, you've done it wrong, or any of that old crap that you just don't need in your head. And I had to have a word with myself, and I just kept saying, don't be impatient. Stop it. Don't be impatient. Be where you are. Be where you are right now. But not only be where you are, but learn. Keep your eyes, keep your ears open. All of these people who are ahead of you in terms of the program, they are showing you what's possible. Instead of getting caught up in the la 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 stuff, stay focused. Listen, they are teaching you, they are showing you what is possible. And so once I got my head around that, and it actually didn't take long, because I noticed as soon as I switched, I was like, okay, that's the attitude I need to have, because this, like, it's not happening quick enough, doesn't help anybody. And it's not who I want to be in the world. As soon as I did that, suddenly I just felt like I was in warm, supportive waters. And even on my wobbly days, to hear people share their story of like, here I am on month 11 and on month 2 I felt like this, and to feel and witness and experience their growth, it was a beautiful thing. And I find this often with my 3-month coaching packages, is that sometimes about week 6 people are like, but I haven't done it yet. It's like, it's going to be okay, because you're going, you know, we're laying in the foundations here. And yeah, it's really annoying sometimes trusting the process, because we don't want to trust the process. We want the results. But they always do come. They always do come. And the final thing was to stay in my lane. And this is not something that I'm necessarily saying for myself. It's not like my own personal mantra, but it's something I say to clients all the time. Is that sense of acknowledging, I don't really like the phrase USP, so I'm going to call it magic. Acknowledging your own magic. Because what you might find in these internet lands and these self-development and these small businesses lands is that everybody is so different. And so you might see somebody and be like, well, how did they get there? What did they do? Or, oh, maybe that's the piece of the puzzle I'm missing. And actually, all you need to do is to stay in your own lane, acknowledge and amplify and elevate your own magic. Another thing which I did brilliantly was I failed really fast. And I'm so pleased that I did. I experimented. I tried things. I put something up and then I scribbled it out. I made a lot of moves. I took a lot of action. I built a lot of momentum. And I also made sure I celebrated all of the wins along the way. Because I suddenly, if I was tracking it on a graph, I would have had that moment of like, oh, I made a big jump there. Oh, I've made a big leap there. And it was really, really exciting. So if you're interested in some one-on-one time, making some mega moves, I would love to hear from you. Send me a message via my website and come back for part 4. Lots of love. Bye.